I have a terrible secret, and it's about time I let you know, Space Cats. Before I divulge, I should say there is help out there for people like us. You see, I have a problem. Oh dear, this is really embarrassing. I'm not even sure I can say it out loud. I mean, I've prepped myself for quite a long time to make this video, and I've really sort of tried to give myself a boost. I know it'll be really useful to a lot of people out there, so here goes. I can't go into a bookshop and leave it without buying something. I know, wait, just before you switch off to watch a cat video in disgust, I am ashamed and embarrassed, but I blame it on my childhood. You see, I was born in an era before Kindle. I know. In fact, when I was a child, there were only 3 TV channels: BBC One, BBC Two and ITV in the UK. So you can probably imagine books and bookshops were just a fabulous, endless world of possibilities. And particularly the one in the town where I grew up. It was like Flourish and Blots from the Harry Potter stories. There were nooks and crannies all through the shop, and there were little stairs everywhere and little chairs to sit on and browse what you'd picked up. There was a children's section, and it smelt of paper. I also feel I must put some blame on my parents. They enlisted me into the Penguin School Book Club, where every month or two you'd get a choice of different books. They were 75p a book. And it wasn't just receiving the book itself, it was ordering it. It was looking through the full colour catalogue and choosing a book, and then the wait. And eventually they would arrive at school, and several of my classmates who were, I'm going to say, lucky enough to be in that club with me would get a book, and we would look at each other's. It's a terrible thing to do in retrospect, to lure children in with glossy catalogues. I know. So, if you're like me, then you'll know it's not all your fault. But you might ask, what the heckity heck can we do about it? Here are my top 5 tips for when you are anywhere near a bookshop. Number 1. If you know that you are going to be in the vicinity of a bookshop, let's say half a mile, make sure you understand your risk factor. Leave your bank cards at home and only take cash with you up to £7.99, which is the average price of a book in the UK. Any more than that and you are going into the danger zone. Try to avoid the street that the shop is in, and if you just can't do that and you have to walk past, avoid at all costs looking in the window. And whatever you do, don't stop. Imagine there is an evil creature right behind you, chasing you down the street, wanting to suck your brains out of your ears. Number 2. Let's talk about peer pressure. It's easy to think that it's the right thing to do when everyone else around you is doing it too. But let's not forget that everybody else in the bookshop is, by definition, a book lover. And they may be suffering the same affliction as you. But remember, that's only a small proportion of the whole universe. Not everyone out there is enjoying books. Just make sure that you do you And don't fall into that trap of doing the same thing that everybody else is, because it won't do you any favours. If half the town want to wallow in the written word, then let them. If they all wanted to eat a big bag of stinging nettles, you wouldn't necessarily follow them, would you? Of course not. Be yourself and don't be pressured by what other people are doing. Number 3. There may come a time in your life when you just have to visit a bookshop. It may have something to do with buying a birthday or a Christmas present for somebody. And that's okay, because your friend might be able to take books in the way that you just can't. It is really, really important to go into that shop with a focus. You are buying something for someone else. It needs to be something that they like. You can't kid yourself that they like what you like, because by the time you get home, you'll have talked yourself into keeping that book. The best tool I've found is an elastic band around the wrist. Each time you notice yourself going, "Ooh, I like that book," ping yourself really hard with the band. I mean hard! The stinging pain will help you regain focus. And you'll hopefully find that you'll be able to get to the checkout without picking anything else up for yourself. Number 4. Take a teenager with you. It's especially helpful if they are in their early teens and they are just feeling those first hormonal changes. They are wonderfully encouraging with their facial expressions and their folded arms and their consistent chirping of, "Can we go yet?" This tip is a game changer. There is no way you'll be in the mood for picking up something for yourself. And if you haven't got a 13 or a 14-year-old, then maybe you could borrow one. Although this doesn't always work. Teenagers are notoriously polite and lovely to other people's parents. Number 5. Okay, so there may come a time when you just black out and find yourself at home with a carrier bag full of books. The first thing to do, and this is crucial, is make sure you haven't stolen them. There should be a receipt in the bag. And now you have 2 options. One is to forgive yourself and reset and think, okay, tomorrow is another day. The second option is pretty hardcore. You could take the books back. I know, it will be devastatingly hard, and the store manager might give you a really hard time scrutinising those books, making sure no pages have been bent back or the cover damaged in any way. But believe me, if you can go ahead with this, you will be so proud of yourself, and it's another step in the right direction. Remember, paperback books are easy to come by and they are the gateway to hardback books. You really don't want to go down that route, believe me. There is no turning back once you start buying coffee table books. I'm going to give it a really good go this year and work on my ability to browse without buying. I'm off to buy some picture books. No, I'm not. I'm off to twaddle a nincompoop. I will see you in Waterstones.